because when you have those kind of two best mids, Nico and LeBlanc, taken away basically every game, Annie here in the bans as well, it does limit the mid pool, and I would expect Z to be picked up a bit more often. So we see, someone expected the LeBlanc ban obviously come out on the red side, should be followed by Nico, but Annie and Renekton are a bit different. I mean, we've seen a few Renekton bans, but Annie first 3, not something you see that often.
No, it isn't, but it has been happening every now and then, so I guess just trying to get that away from Xiao2, maybe figuring that if he is able to play around WSL, it can help the Dewish team quite a lot. And so Annie, one of those champions, every now and then is going to be able to get lane prio and look to help WSL on his invades, which he is very prone to looking for. Tristana going to round out the bans here for Dewish team, and I don't know exactly the thoughts behind it, just taking away from Nuli for now, but you've left the Jace open, which almost feels stronger, at least here in the PCS.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think the response to this will be interesting as well, because Sejuani is up, but with Renekton and Jace gone, or Renekton and Jax gone, and the Jace, I suppose, it's not as good of a pickup, although you could go Sej Cassante. The Vi is also open, Maokai as well, so there's lots of options here for the Dewish team, and I think we have seen WSL kind of tend towards the AP junglers, or at least performs better on them, and hey, I'd love to see him play Elise again.
Yeah, I definitely would. Definitely looked like one of his stronger picks, at least last split. And I don't think she obviously has received some nerfs, as well as doesn't do so well into these tanks, but it just is what matches WSL's playstyle. He likes to go for early aggression, look for things around the jungle, and work with Xiao2 especially to try and find things. And so Elise definitely, while not meta, offers a lot more in regards to aggression than any of the meta junglers currently.
I do like it. Now, what will the response be? Maokai does make a lot of sense, provides that AP to synergize with the Jace, and I think the matchup into Elise is fine. Now, do you take your top laner here into Cassante? It feels like you probably should. There are some tops banned away already. That being said, this Cassante could flex mid, so blinding Gwen here could be dangerous.
Yeah, it can be dangerous. It doesn't feel like much of a Xiao2 champion, though, the Cassante. While it can brawl and has a good time of surviving in lane, he tends to like to be sort of the damage source in his team. I would be surprised to see it switch, but absolutely could be.
Okay, so they are going to lock it in. I'm curious. Ooh, okay, last second, change it to Aurelia. I wonder if this is a double flex for them or not. We know Aurelia is confident on the Aurelia, as he's probably named for, but... And this is what I was worried about a little bit for the side of West Point. They do, yeah, so it is going to be Cassante mid. Fiora should follow around this Aurelia. I want to see if they're willing to lane swap or even swap champs, though.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really know, right? Fiora certainly isn't one for being able to play mid lane. She likes to be in the side lanes, the longer lanes, make use of her Q, try and get some work done on the towers, and it's just a bit hard in mid lane. So almost certainly has to be Cassante Fiora, going obviously Fiora top, Cassante mid, but then as you've pointed out, the flex can change a lot for West Point, at least. And now we're going to the second phase bans. Kai'Sa, not surprising to see, especially with the lack of current magic damage. And then Nautilus is the response ban here from West Point.
Now, do you go for another ADC ban? You do kind of have your pick of the litter with this fourth pick. There's something like the Xayah or the Aphelios maybe could be looked at. They banned the Varus instead, which I think has proved to be a pretty big bait here in the PCS. Other side, do you go for another melee support, or are you worried about breaking up the Xayah Rakan combo? Because you can't just pick Rakan on 4 here if you want.
Yeah, have to see where they go. Milio also up. We did see some Milio prioritization yesterday. Okay, Rakan is the ban.
Yeah, they banned the Rakan. There are a lot of strong combos up left, though. Like you said, there is the Milio. I wonder... Yeah, Milio can probably be paired with enough stuff that if you pick it on 4, you're not too worried about anything being denied from you. Wonder what they're going to go for, though. I think picking AD and just countering support is probably better. They're going to go for the Xayah, or at least hovering it here. Does kind of allow your bot side to play a little bit safer. And I think with Elise and Fiora, you probably are playing more towards the top side.
Okay.
Ezreal.
So there are the 2 AD carries that were banned by Dewish team both can build the AP builds, and Ezreal also is able to. But then Karma does add quite a lot of magic damage, even though she will be going support items as Karma usually does here in the professional scene at least. So I think you don't really know exactly which build Ezreal's going to opt towards. I think that's more, maybe we can tell from Keystones when we get into game. It looks like a hook champ. Blitzcrank will be the lock-in here, so
Wow.
Doesn't do so well into Israel, but if you are able to catch the Karma at least, can absolutely blow her up in an instance.
Yeah, so a lot of options now given to WSL on the Elise. Can play around bot lane as well, and wouldn't be surprised to see him go down there. Ezreal Karma is extremely strong in that 2v2, but obviously is vulnerable to getting ganked, kind of has to push, has to be up in your face, and that can allow and how to walk up, hit the hook, followed up by the Elise Cocoon would be very nice. And for me, I'd be immediately paying attention to what happens at level 1 in this game. Where are the junglers starting, and also are we going to see any lane swaps?
Looks like for now at least it will just be the Jace into Cassante. I imagine would you go first strike or phase rush in this matchup?
I think you might need phase rush just to survive, but haven't played the matchup personally. Did play a Jace game today actually.
How'd it go?
11-1-6.
Oh,
yeah, it was a good one.
Who'd you learn from? Did you take any learnings from yesterday's games?
I built a Ghost Blade, so
okay, that's what they all did. Nothing else unique?
No,
No dark tech?
No, unfortunately not. Didn't try the Shadow Flame for a mission yet, but bringing it back to this game, I mean, who are you favoring in the comps? Because I think I kind of like what Dewish team have gone for in terms of their comfort. Like I like WSL on the Elise. I think it's looked so much better for them. And I think Xiaotu on a champ like Cassante actually is probably better for him because he definitely has a bad habit of fighting too much and dying often, but I think Cassante is just unkillable.
Yeah, Cassante definitely looks like one of the most unkillable champions in the current meta. And I kind of agree with you. I like Dewish teams simply because of the comfort, and they've got WSL on what he was known for. Even though they didn't pick up many wins, last split when they did find wins, it was only when WSL was allowed to play Nidalee or Elise, I think, was his only 2 wins. So getting on that is really nice. I think overall, I like the West Point team composition better. But I think it is harder to execute, especially having that Aurelia. It's not like Aurelia is picked here as a counter. Because Fiora does absolutely fine into Aurelia, as does Aurelia into Fiora. That comes down more to skill, and I think one problem that we may find is that Aurelia often gets caught going a bit too aggressive, and with WSL on Elise can very easily punish it.
Definitely, yeah, and like you said, ease of execution is pretty important, and West Point definitely don't have an easy to execute comp. They've got 2 poke champs with that Jace and the Ezreal, a Karma as well. Maybe a level 1 5v5.
Oh my, this is exciting. The hook will land here onto 665. Nice 5-man knock-up. 4-man stun is the follow-up. No one going down just yet, but it's Pepero getting low. Oh my god. What an explosive start.
Yeah, so overall, it looks like the sums do favor the side of West Point. I think importantly, the bot lane of Dewish team lost a flash and an ignite, which is pretty big. I guess Maokai might not be able to gank as easily. Yeah, sums like pretty in favor of the side of West Point. So nice level 1 from them.
Yeah, what a start.
It's definitely not often that you see that these days. Just a 5v5 in that first bot push. Although, the ward is now a gold lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Char also picking up more gold because of the support item as well, so...
Wow, they're rich.
Just snowballing at this point, but here we see WSL starting top side.
Ooh.
Makes sense to probably head down to this bot side if you are able to land a Blitzcrank hook.
Yeah, I want to see where he passes after this red, because he could go for a 3-camp top onto Aurelia, or he might just path down the bot. That's kind of what you'd expect. But potentially something that can come out here.
Yeah, looking at the minimap, look how defensive Aurelia is currently playing on this Aurelia.
I think he's really aware of a possible just like red top or 3-camp top. But either way, it does feel bad, I think, to start a lane like this as Aurelia. You would like to be able to kind of contest these early levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely if you are able to play more aggressive and get Q stacks early, you can win some trades just through the power of Aurelia's dueling. But having to start E to secure that CS doesn't feel the greatest. Pepero got really poked out there.
Yeah, it doesn't have the flash as well, so needs to be a little careful. Now we're going to be able to collect this wave under tower, but they can't yet threaten the Ezreal Karma without their jungler here. WSL, he is pathing down. 665 though, before pathing topside, is actually going to protect bot side, which is interesting because it means that your Ezreal Karma is allowed to push, but Aurelia is going to be stuck alone top lane for a very long time. 665, I mean, he's doing a good job to get some vision down. Sweeps it out. I don't think this is a dive, though.
Well, they're looking for it. Maokai will be able to reset aggro depending on how they play it.
I don't think this
does
works.
have the flash up. Actually, he's gone for it. Twisted Advance lands. Will be first blood, but can there be an answer? I think Pepero's too low to really do anything here. Teleport coming in from Xiaotu on this Cassante. Cocoon will land onto 665, but he remains fairly healthy as WSL looking for anything.
Okay, yeah, well played from the side of West Point. I didn't think that was going to work, but there just isn't enough, damage and CC from the side of Dewish team this early. So really nice early game from West Point. They use that Ezreal Karma winning 2v2 and allow Maokai to get himself a pretty big lead here. Kill even went on to Prage there, so really nice early game.
Yeah, perfectly played.
Peppero's going to struggle here as well. Wave is pushing out. Ezreal's already got a recall in, and he doesn't have some, so he has to try crash this wave. As we'll get a replay, I think Peppero and Enhal probably should have stayed under tower here. I'm pretty sure they should have stayed under tower and waited for the Cassandre TP, because once you leave this tower, there isn't any safety, and the TP comes in late enough that there's no way they can be here. I think they kind of sealed the deal for themselves walking this far away. You can see level 3 on the Maokai. Has all those abilities, so he can just lock someone down, take him out in rather short orders. We'll come back to live. 665, he's going to put some pressure towards top as well.
Oh, that was a long-range ward. This is going to get it down, though, so importantly, scouts out that 665's in the area. WSL and Inhal both looking here to try and find something on Nuli. It is Conqueror Jace, but does have Flash available.
Interesting he's gone for the Conqueror. I mean, really wants to brawl.
I think it's interesting that there's Aftershock on the Cassante.
Okay, now, WSL spotted out just in time. Ward here by Rel here. Wave's in a tough spot for him, though. He's going to need to crash it. With his jungler nearby, I think he'll be fine. WSL, really not getting the start he wanted. Was kind of pathing towards bot, but unfortunately bot had lost too much HP and were getting dived before he was really in a good position to help them. And Pepero, without any lifesteal yet, does have the refillable. Does have the sums back up, but this is exactly where you want to be as the Ezreal Karma. Just with enough safety that you can continually poke under tower, knowing that unless you get hooked, there's really just no threat.
Yeah, and Ezreal definitely one of the safest AD carriers when at tower against a Blitzcrank, are able to channel that arcane shift to be able to not get hooked in. Things all considered, it is definitely the best start West Point's had so far in the summer series.
For sure, yeah. And having a 1k gold lead for themselves this early, I think does feel pretty good, especially against the comp with the Elise. You're kind of expecting the Elise comp to be the ones that are winning early. As WSL, he's going to look back towards top. I believe that ward has expired. And Rally here, he probably knows. Also, level 6 advantage here for JP. Gets himself a nice little trade, although there is a Vamp Scepter from Aurelia, so we'll get a lot of this health back.
Do not be fooled. The graphic up the top left is wrong. It is going to be the Infernal Dragon.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay, pink ward comes down just to make sure they have full control over this. And with Nuli's priority, looks like they will get it. Nuli has a nice little CSC for himself. Obviously, part of that was from Xiaotu TPing bot. But I think credit to Nuli has been very stable in the couple games West Point have played so far. Even, in the ones where they have been kind of getting annihilated. Infernal Dragon is picked up. Pepero forced to reset, and they're going to lose another plate here. So gold lead for bot lane is kind of getting out of control.
Yeah, not looking good here, especially for Pepero, who, as we sort of said before the game, looked to be the strongest player on the team, at least yesterday. For him being at such a disadvantage might spell disaster as this game progresses. Xiaotu now looks like he will have to recall as well. Nuli finding a lot of poke, despite remaining fairly high on mana as well.
Yeah, I think Nuli TP'd back there, has a lot of items compared to Cassante, who only just now got his first recall. And that's going to mean another plate going the way of West Point, now up to 3. Can maybe get another given that it's a cannon wave. So just these isolated 1v1s and 2v2s going the way of West Point. Although Relia
is quite low here. It is a good parry. Will not allow for that reset on the Q as he dodges out of that 2-point strike as well. But here we are going to see him. He's getting extremely low. Looks like Relia will pick him up. WSL is too late. Might be a little bit out of position too. That cocoon allows him to get away.
Yeah, he's just going to be out there and might be getting dived, though. They want to try and make sure that he can't pick up this wave. One tower shot is tanked.
Repel available. Is going to get into spider form? No, yes he will, but it looks like he's just doomed.
Ooh.
Actually finds himself one, and there's no reset to be able to come through. WSL gets away with murder, really.
Yeah, that was pretty well played there from WSL. I also think there was an extra tower shot taken from the Maokai I think he even had flash available, so I'm pretty sure West Point should have been able to get that 1 for 0, but credit to WSL. He punishes the mistake, manages to grab himself a kill, even if he can't get the wave. Ooh. So we're going to replay of what happened. I mean, Maokai is walking up, and I think JP kind of felt like he wanted to trade. I mean, he has his jungler on the way as well, so potentially felt like he was in a position where he was going to be safe. And I think initially actually played it pretty well. Probably could have just kited out after this, but instead turned to flash forward, but couldn't quite get the last mark on the ulti. Was taken out. WSL, he looked a bit out of position here, and I think honestly probably should have needed to leave this wave. I think this should just be that Maokai goes in, tanks, resets aggro with W. Instead he starts with W, which is weird, and also he doesn't flash. Oh, maybe he didn't have flash? Yeah, maybe he didn't have flash. I'm not too sure, but either way, WSL, he played it pretty well. Got himself a kill.
Absolutely. Looks like going to get a Rift Shield for his troubles, but it is not all good. That is going to be a really early Blade Caller.
Yeah, they want to just clear the wave.
Featherstorm even.
Looks like they are going to be able to clear it, so they've bought themselves some time, but...
No one can come down, though. There is a teleport available for Xiaotu, but again, we saw what happened last time he committed it.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard for them to defend this. I think this tower is just gone. Even if you bring down WSL, the problem is the lack of mid-priority. Newly on the Jace here is just getting perma-prior, and it makes it so hard to contest this bot jungle. If WSL keeps staying around here, he's going to fall further and further behind. He's going to try to secure his blue, and I think he'll get it. In the meantime,
okay, Relia looking, is going to dodge out of that parry stun, and got a lot of damage as well. Damn.
JP's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just going to be forced off, so lane's really going the way of West Point, and a lot of that has been intervention from 665, but also credit to the West Point lanes for setting him up so well. Now, there is a Rift Herald on WSL, so I'm not too sure where he can drop it. Feels like it almost has to be top. You know, neither mid nor bot are in a good spot, but at the same time, our top lane is in base, so can't look for something. Maybe looking mid.
Xiaotu is going to get a double knock up here. It's a 2v2. 665 manages to find a nice twisted advance. He's going to get him in. He's going to be able to take down Xiaotu. That's one for Nuli. Inhao a little bit too late here. Just the one kill over to West Point.
Yeah, West Point playing out a very nice early game for themselves. They're just kind of getting leads across the board, and now looking top lane, it is the Bork completed for Relia, so pretty insane spike. Definitely going to be winning out in those trades. Dustblade completed for Nuli as well. Bot tower's falling lower and lower, and this is kind of the problem that you have sometimes when you trade off bot lane for the Herald, as Prage, he gets pretty aggressive here, but sometimes when you trade off bot for the Herald, bot suffers so much as a result that you can't really go down there and place the Herald anyway. We'll take a look at how the 2v2 happened mid. Xiaotu, again, he has members on the way. Goes in, kind of feels like this should just be a 2v2, but support Karma shows up early. It was a nice cocoon, but they just can't quite finish Newly off. He flashes towards the Karma shield and ultimately just cleans them up, and they run out of damage.
Ooh, okay. Maybe looking for a dive here with that Rift Shield available.
There's a pink in that bush. He is going to be spotted out. Very nice presence of mind there from Rel here.
No one is here, though, so he does still have to be careful.
I think he can 1v2. As long as he flashes a cocoon. Yeah, WSL, he backs away. I'm surprised he didn't drop the Herald, though. I think that's the only opportunity you're going to get to use the Herald. Yeah, it looks like he's coming back now. On the other side of the map, though, WP, they're going to pick up their second drag. Should be uncontested. They're going to try play for the dive, but I don't think they can.
Relia landing a lot of damage. WSL's just going to get absolutely smoked. Actually lives up for now,
wow.
And it's only just nearly surviving. They are going to find the kill on Relia.
Yeah.
Saved by that cocoon.
Relia, I think, again, pretty big misplay. There's a couple things you need to do here. When your bot side is trading for the drag, all you really need to do is survive. Decides to go for the outplay, has the flash available, but can't find a way to use it, and that ends up in a pretty good trade for Dewish team. So, Relia, we've kind of seen this from him a lot. You know, he oftentimes gets a lead, but can just as easily give it back.
Yeah, and with that, you have to feel like Fiora certainly should be ahead in gold now, at least in the isolated 1v1. 3k gold overall, though, in favor of West Point. An extremely strong Jace as well as Ezreal, and Maokai certainly getting towards his tanky items.
Yeah, this Jace, very, very strong. 137 CS here, only 13 minutes. will be pathing out towards bot side, and you have to feel like that side lane will be very good for him. Even up against the Fiora, I think he'd be in a very good spot, so it's just going to have his choice of what he wants to do with all this priority. You know, farm some camps, maybe come in pressure mid. Taking a look at the player goal, Rally is still ahead actually over the Fiora, but it has closed a lot considering how much he denied. And look at Pepero, only 200 gold ahead of Karma. You know, credit to him, has managed not to die, but you can really see the gold difference in those ADC items. A full Triforce completed over just a Noon Quiver and Tier 2 boots.
Yeah, things definitely looking good here as looks like Siege will start to try and head towards this middle lane. It is going to be a long time until Peppero's really in a state where he will be able to get priority on the wave, which is unusual when you think about Xayah as a champion. Generally one of the better champs at walking forward, clearing a wave before the other AD carry.
Ezreal Karma also, though, kind of known for being able to get priority on that mid wave. As
Damn, look at the turret plays.
Yeah, wow, it's a lot of gold picked up there. Got 10 of them. Feels very good for them. And it's really represented in the gold, right? West Point, you feel like they hold all the cards right now, have themselves that gold lead up 2-0 in the Dragons as well. And it always comes down to that third dragon, I feel like, of, you know, do you contest this or do you play to trade? I feel like Dewish team, they probably should contest, but need to complete their one-item spikes before then.
Looks like Herald will be the next talking point, and you have to feel like, as Dewish team, you just have to give this up. Maybe look for something around the dragon if you are able to get to those one items before it spawns in 2.5 minutes.
I'm going to look for this here, and something we didn't bring up is that Maokai has actually gone for the tankier build, has the Aftershock, got the Even Shroud, hasn't gone for the likes of Phase Rush Demonic, which is a little curious, because Ezreal's also going for, you know, Triforce, has a bit of mixed damage, but, you know, just not a lot of magic damage on the team whatsoever. Maybe thinking, though, that there's just not a whole lot of armor that can come through from Dewish team, especially not when they're, you know, this poor in terms of gold.
Yeah, Cassante definitely can get armor, but I think Aurelia, especially when you are able to get passive stacks up, does a little bit of magic damage, and there is also the Karma and Ezreal that come through, but again, it isn't a whole lot, and if this game draws out, then Cassante will get to a point where he's just tanking up everything.
So Herald is picked up. I wonder, are they going to use it immediately on mid or maybe save it for that third drag? I think it might be better just to save it for third drag. I really feel like once you have 3 dragons, it makes it so hard for the enemy team to play because you have the option of trading your 4th drag for a Baron. You kind of force them to fight, and especially when you have like a split push win condition like a Fiora, feeling like you're forced to contest a dragon feels really, really bad. So I want to see West Point just set this up cleanly and put themselves in a good spot to close this one out. 1 more minute now. We got to redeploy on the map. Noise completed the Man Immune. Obviously isn't fully upgraded yet, but kind of speaks to how much gold he has here.
Yeah, 2 items to 1 in that middle lane.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Who do you think wins in the 1v1 though? It is Cassante.
Yeah, it actually, I mean, I think even still you have to play pretty well as Nuli because while you are up an item, there is only armor coming through for Cassante so far, so definitely will help him.
West Point just going down mid as a 5-man.
Yeah,
ooh, lots of damage. Nature's Draft's committed as well. They're just going to push them off the tower, and this is the real punishment of, well, 1, being behind, but 2, having the Fiora in the side lane who really doesn't want to fight. And the way they're positioning kind of suggests they're just going to trade this one, but can they actually get that top tier 2? I don't think they can, and if they can't, they're not really getting anything. They're just falling further and further behind.
Yeah, all you really got was a couple of minion waves on your Fiora, which isn't ultimately going to mean much when still staying even with Relia. And I think based on itemization, there is still obviously the outplay that can come between these 2 champs, but I think all things going well and correct in a 1v1, Aurelia should still probably win. Just Blade of the Ruined King versus Gore Drinker.
Oh, Dewish team, they have brought their Fiora down, and for some reason Char is top lane. I don't know why Char's not here at the Dragon. I have no idea how he got there, but let's see.
Okay, Xiaotu looking for something here. Is going to be able to find a tank. It's not the one you want, and the hook lands. In-house the one that suffers from it, though, as Nuli does go in, finds a lot of damage, but it's JP who's trying to find a lot, as Relia is doing the same on the opposite side. That'll be the Featherstorm. A nice Blade Caller will find almost enough damage, but Nuli only just surviving. It's an ace. 1 for 4, or 5 even.
Wow. I mean, what a messy fight there. I think West Point, they honestly made that a bit dicey with Char being top. I don't know why he was going top there. I guess maybe he wanted to protect the trade or something, but it turned out Dewish team were just going to contest. But unfortunately, I think they are just a bit too far behind in gold. And I think credit to Newly, played that fight pretty well, managed to live on just a sliver of health while putting up a lot of damage. So now, 3 drags to 0s. We'll get a look at what transpired. They have a nice flank here, but the only person they can find is this full tank Maokai, as well as a TP. It comes in from Relia here. And once this Maokai goes down, so much has been invested for it. With Newly and Prage still on full HP, there just isn't enough threat left. And it just screams desperation, I think, from the side of Dewish team. And you can see why they are very far behind. And with that, you kind of feel like the game is firmly in West Point's hands.
Yeah, absolutely, man. One of those Qs from Xayah, if it were to land on Newly, would have been able to find that kill, but wasn't able to. And now let's just put West Point even further ahead. It is going to be roughly 6.5k gold.
Yeah, now what are they going to do with that? Are they going to play it safe and wait to the Dragon, or are they going to try force the issue around the Baron? Because they do have a lot of control, and it's very hard to face check into these poke compositions. You know, while I think the poke comps are normally pretty hard to execute, if you do get this far ahead, it actually feels very easy.
There's going to be Pepero getting smacked up by some of these Israel Qs. He's going to be able to find him. That's 2 kills already found. Attention, I would say he's going to go to the Baron, but it still hasn't even spawned.
Yeah, it really is just a saving grace there for Dewish team that it's not 20 minutes yet, because you have to feel like it would have just been a Baron. Either way, though, it's still not good. Even more gold going into West Point's pockets. Really not showing any signs of letting up the aggression here. Just going to keep on pushing top here as Nully. Maybe they can play towards this tier 2. Looks like they might go for resets instead, though. Probably do have a lot of gold in the bank. And WSL, I mean, we kind of talked about how he got his signature release, and normally when he gets it, he does put up some very big performances, but I think just a little bit of a misplay around the bot side from Dewish team's bot lane, I'd have to say. You know, normally their stable kind of point, unfortunately, you know, kind of put this game into disarray before WSL really had the chance to impact it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he found himself a bit of an outplay up in top, but other than that, been fairly quiet. They were able to shut down Relia trying to outplay as well. But here we are looking at WSL, going to use that repel to get out of the twisted advance. But 665, a lot of slows, finding the damage needed. WSL slowed up again. Might need the arcade shift. Actually, will not. It's just Newly sniping from the back.
I think that will be Baron started up here by West Point with the jungler dead. You'd have to see them go to it. Yeah, looks like they are going to start it up. And can there be anything done from the side of Dewish team? It feels like probably not. There's just not a lot here that can be done. Maybe you can see with the Blitzcrank Q over the wall.
That would be pretty exciting, but doesn't even look like he's trying. It will just be Baron going over. And at 21 minutes, the only real wave clear you have is Xayah, who is extremely far behind. There is probably the possibility of just ending here. A lot committed down to just get one tower bot.
Yeah, the trade, I mean, it's the best you can get in this situation, but there really just are no good choices left. Doesn't feel like Fiora is going to be able to win the split push anytime soon, with those 2 items already completed there on the Aurelia. And with that Baron buff as well, kind of gives 2.5 more minutes of just being unable really to push. And I want to see West Point, you know, keep those waves pushed in. You can go back to the 4th Dragon if you need it, but just at least move up the control. Just really shouldn't be a way for Dewish team to get back into this game if West Point play it well. One Blitzcrank hook, though, that could be the difference.
Yeah, but it's important to land on the correct person. They've used Blitzcrank hook in one of the previous fights, landed on Maokai, which resulted in Inhal's death, so that's the one thing about Blitzcrank, is a lot of times it can win you the game, but if you hook the wrong person, it can absolutely lose you the game.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And looks like West Point, they're going to play mid and bot here, going to play towards those 2 waves. Looks like Rel here will reset to try and hold the top side. Does have himself TP, so should be pretty safe. And bot lane tier 2 falls without too much affair. 30 more seconds on this 4th Dragon, which Dewish team kind of have to contest, but I'm not sure they can even leave their base. Oh, Pepero got his recall cancelled there. I wonder, are they going to go for more? Looks like they will.
Oh, WSL being found out here by 665. It's going to get that repel up, but he's on the wrong side of the wall. It is going to be Nuli flashing over, almost insta-killing Inhow as well as WSL. Xiaotu now, not long for this world, you have to think. That's a triple kill. Pepero flashing away, has also popped the Ghost. That's no summoners now on the Xayah. Ult used also.
I think they should just play for the end. There really is nothing. There's no wave clear. No one's strong enough here, and
I think Relia can just teleport into a minion. There we do see it, and Char getting some slows down on the fountain, but a lot of damage coming over. A bit of fountain shenanigans happening. We've seen that a lot so far as, man, that shock blast is doing so much damage. The hook will finally land on Nuli. There's a fight breaking out. JP's doing his best. He will go down. Nuli does also go down, but I think this game is not long for the books.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Maybe just going to try grab a few extra kills here at the end as West Point. Just padding the stat lines a little bit, but ultimately, after 24 minutes, it looks like they are going to pretty decisively dominate Dewish team, and they will pick up their first win. Does put Dewish team